And going back again to a day in the life of, what is it that you enjoy the most about what you do? And then I mean the whole package of what you do, because you do more than just a traditional, right? Traditional day. And what is it that you, let's say, like the least or is the most challenging for you, basically?
Well, for me, what I really enjoy is actually just sit down, meditate in my spot. That is actually an ideal activity of the day that I really like to do. But otherwise, of course, I enjoy. I mean, people think that I enjoy being a teacher, teaching meditation, but honestly, I don't become a monk to become a teacher. I became a monk to be a student. So it was like the other way around, you know what I mean? So I only share what I have experienced and what I have learned from many masters who are really great at what they have been practicing and passing down their wisdom and knowledge. So that's actually mainly my part. So the most challenging is that trying to be as close as what I have been talking about, you know, because everything that I share, a lot of them come from the master who was really, really good, but I'm not as good as they are. So I want to be as good as they are. So that's a little bit challenging to keep developing myself to that extent.
And we always remain a student, don't we? We're never actually there, are we? At least, at least in the belief system that you adhere to, it's like when you're there, that means you are enlightened, which means you're no longer here, isn't it?
Generally, that's the idea.
Yeah, interesting. And another question that came from our community actually is that when you have a problem, or let's say when you face a challenge, what do you do? How do you go about finding a solution for that?
Pause first.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of time we love to react. You know, react is like when you throw the balls against the wall, just bounce back right away. So the harder you throw it, the harder it bounce back. So that's its reaction. So it's tend to come with a lot of strength, a lot of emotions, a lot of energy is going right back at the problem. And that's not really solve. It's more like you just put point and arrow straight into the problems. So what I really do when things really get rough is just to sort of pause and step back a bit. So it's just instead of it's becoming a wall, it's like you have a perforated wall, you know, something that's softer, really soften the impact, so then things that bounce back a lot softer. And that actually, you know, when you're no longer part of the puzzle, you started to see things in different directions. So your thought become more logical. You start to see the answer in different ways. Things become more responsive rather than reactive. And that's for me really, really helpful when things get really, really rough. Sometimes some problem actually doesn't need to be solved much at all. You just like, yeah, what the heck, and just wait a bit more and things will resolve itself too. A lot of time we just want to take control of every little aspect and want everything to turn out the way we expect it to be. And that's tough. That's end up being overworked unnecessarily. Sometimes we make it even worse.
Yes, I can personally vouch for that. And I believe that's very true. Yeah, and I love the analogy that you shared about the wall and softening the wall. And I remember when I was studying with you in the temple, of course, all the analogies that you use and the metaphors to make all the teachings so much more practical and tangible. And I love that. It's so like to simplify it a little bit, because we're talking about concepts and theories sometimes, especially also in the teachings, right? And that way we kind of create the bridge between your knowledge and your world and our knowledge and our world, because on a day-to-day basis our lives are very different, right? And the way we experience life also can be very different.
In the other words, you know, people say a lot that if you want to have a better idea, you have to think outside of the box. But as long as you're in the box, you can't think outside of the box. So if you want to think outside of the box, you got to step out the box first. You know, as long as you're part of that things in the box, you won't see anything else. You still see the frame in a way. So you have to step away and look it from the top. So, I'm not in the box now. I see all the players in the box.
Exactly. And it's also like sometimes we try and really convince someone else of our viewpoints, but we talk to them while they are still in their box as well. So it's the same principle, right? Take them by the hand to your box and show them what you're trying to show them, so you can see that connects.